All right. Here's another video for whoever our new art teacher will be. Hopefully a fine candidate from Payne College or Augusta University. Out of college, will do a great job, lots of enthusiasm, and it'll be wonderful. I want to go over a couple of things that I did last year that you might want to try as well, that might work for you. So you're located on an 8th grade hall in an old science room. The great thing about being in an old science room is that you have 2 functioning sinks. One is covered up by some boxes, because I will be taking things that I purchased with me. I always have students turn in work in the same place. I put a big basket here. I actually had one that was bigger than that. I just have that one there to show you. I always have a little funny sign that says like, stop, remember to put your name and class code on your paper. Students, after they come in that door, they will walk here and sign in. I had like a desk here, like a student desk. It was actually a little wooden one that I purchased. It had like a tablecloth on it and a little lamp. Made a little situation right here for students to sign in on a piece of paper with their name and class code. So this is kind of where I had it. I had it a little more over here to plug up the lamp, but I also maintained a cleaning station right here. I had Swiffer mops here. I have some notes for you here as well. So students line up at the door. I let them in 5 to 10 at a time. Sign in, find your seat. I have a ticket system I'll explain in a little bit for how students find their seat. Left you a little heart I got at Goodwill. And this is what I use to kind of show the state what we're doing when they come visit us. Learning targets, lesson activator, I do, you do, we do. So here it shows you how I have the tables. When you come in, there may just be tables scattered or they might not be all the way set up. So this is the one I like the best. I've tried a million different ways. Also some advice, definitely get yourself a cordless battery operated hot glue gun. It's really good for hanging on displays if there's no bulletin board where you want to put the artwork. It says also order a document camera or get one from the library. The one in the library works very well. Also, here is where I had a thing called Puzzle Wars. I bought it on TPT. I did change the puzzle pieces to ones that were applicable to the art room. So quiet transition, clean up, following directions, and staying on task. Our rewards would be like a chill day, or we'd go outside for 30 minutes and come back in. BYOS, always bring your own snacks. That way you don't have to buy a bunch of things. These are a whole lot of decorative pumpkins that our drama teacher gave me. We can use carving heat tools in high school, so I'm gonna take those with me. I left you one box in the closet in case you want to do something with the decorative pumpkins. These are called sticky clips. They're great for hanging artwork. Now they're not the least expensive option, so I would get a couple if I were you, but you know, you don't have to stock up, but they are helpful. These are funny, silly passes that I'm gonna leave behind. This was my hall pass. This would be like a nurse pass, or I would write the classroom teacher on the back of it. It's a dry erase board to what class they were going to. The kids actually like it, and it's funny, it's silly. You do have this one if you would like to use a regular one. I put potty pass real big on like a little piece of paper and stuck it on a textbook, and that would be the bathroom pass. You have a second door here, and to the right is the kids' restroom. So I would have the pass right here, the book. Students would grab the book, potty pass, take it, go to the bathroom. It does actually help students from wandering the hallways too, because these passes are very, very obvious. I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plastic trays there, and I labeled them with the class code. Like that. Here, I had like a gray shelf that I tell you about in these notes that I got from Goodwill, and I've left you little notes all over the room explaining things. These I kind of use for disciplinary purposes, you know, write page 60 because, you know, you're not using material safely and responsibly. All right. right, if I were you, I would take down the student work that I'm leaving up here and here, and I would cover it with fabric and then put the artwork back up. I love using fabric because it lasts more than 1 year. You can buy it pre-cut. You don't have to like go to the counter and ask them to cut it. You can just go to Walmart, look in the aisles of the fabric, and they have these pre-wrapped 3-yard fabrics. You would need 2 of those to cover both of the bulletin boards and then put the artwork back up. And the kids will be excited to see, you know, some of their things that they've made in middle school still here. This is where I kept my sub binder or my sub tub. This is where I hung a shoe organizer that I had, and then I put these plastic containers in the shoe organizer, and that's how I did the markers. So this was kind of part of our supply cart, which I put here, and I put a note there telling you that. Definitely want to cover this. I used just a piece of fabric, and then I put the supply cart in front of it, you know, to kind of cover it up. That's a science eye wash station. You have a good amount of storage. Keep in mind as we're looking through that this gets filled up. I mean, when students create art, it's physically a certain amount of space that it's going to take up. But I left you a bunch of things back here. So you'll have a microwave. Here's the Georgia Fine Arts Standards. Basically, Georgia and South Carolina have very similar fine arts standards based on 4 things: create, present, respond, and connect. So you want to try to hit those points with each and every lesson that you do. I gave you my grading sheet that I would provide parents, my classroom expectations, and kind of a syllabus thing. Also gave you budget advice and ordering advice. You basically go to Collier and want to go to him with like an already printed list of what you're going to order. And I find in every budget I've ever made that Amazon is cheaper than School Specialty or dickblick.com or any of those art supply stores. These are my 24-25 lesson plans, individual. This is a binder from 23-24. It has my long range plan, how I organize and think that through. Of course, that's always changing throughout the year. You gotta be flexible. This is our instructional planning binder that you will get from our instructional coach team, likely. Big plastic containers. You got some nice big box crayons, some paper. These are wonderful to collect, to distribute supplies. So are these. You can often, you know, be nice to the cafeteria staff, and ladies up there are really great to help you out. Order 1 billion of these. Make sure you order ink. It's really helpful to have this. I plug this in beside my desk out front in the right underneath the mural, and yeah, just order the right ink, and you can have black and white, a copier right next to you, and color copies as well. This is the ticket system. So I left you some examples of my tickets. Obviously you're gonna have, you know, 30 of these tickets. I stand at the door with this and I go, pick a card, any card. And the kids are lined up in the hallway and they choose a card. These line up with tickets that are placed on the tables, 1 at each seat. So at a large table, I would have 1 of these in each corner and 4 chairs, no more than 4 students per table. And they would come in, sign in, and look for their seat with the ticket. And that is how you come in the room. So, it says seating. I have students line up at the door and say, check your feet to make sure they're in line. I don't play with any kind of like not following directions, because if you're not following directions from the hallway, how can I expect you to follow directions when you come into the classroom? I'm gonna read through this, even though I know you can read, because, you know, it just helps, I think. You don't feel so alone, you know. Yeah, it helps to have, to hear it as well as read it on your own. I do not invite chaos into the room. If you're not listening from the hall, I'll wait until you're calm and ready to listen. Students receive a ticket and an image with an image at the door, which you see here. Pick a card, any card. You can also show them that, you know, if you naturally have a friendly personality, you're not their friend, but you know, you can greet them at the door, let them know they're going to have a good time in art. But don't stray from your procedures. Students receive a ticket with an image of the door, at the door, and I let them choose from the basket. Students sign in with the name and class code. These are examples of a class code for A Day, B Day, and the grade levels. I think you will have 3 classes a day, 90 minutes long. But again, this schedule is up to our administrative team. I placed a table under the broom with a clipboard and fabric with a lamp. Students sign in, sit where their ticket is, only let 5 to 10 in at a time, and watch like a hawk at first. If they don't like where they sit, it changes every day. I find this easier than a seating chart that constantly has to be changed anyway. Parents can't argue and are impressed at the effort when you explain it to them. It makes it very obvious quickly who the problem is. Students will try to trade tickets, and the tickets on the tables do get tore up from the floor up. You have to replace or retape every 2 to 3 weeks or 1 to 2 weeks, but I think it's worth it. Before students enter, I have the day's activities on a bulleted list on the board using classroomscreen.com for free. Students actually really like this. I check off each one with a green check as they come in. So once the last couple kids are signing in, I might say, or I always say, all right, it looks like only 2 more people to sign in. We'll go ahead and check that off, and I give it a green check. Students really like this consistency and structure, I think. So it'll say, sign in, sit where your ticket is, watch Mrs. C's Armenia tutorial, or another one, or a PowerPoint that I've recorded the day before. It definitely doesn't take that long to do. Just a quick recording of yourself explaining the day's activities, and I find it easier to play that for the kids rather than me myself standing up trying to show them without the help of that visual, and the students like it. It also shows them that you are prepared to see them in that class that day, and I think there's a mutual respect that happens from that. And then complete blank whatever we're working on. So that is how we come in the door and get started. One big thing I did, if you don't like this, you don't have to do it, but I said no one gets up without permission for anything. If you drop an item and it rolls away from you and you have to get up to get it, you have to raise your hand and ask permission to get it. That's how petty I am. Never ask, why are you up? Because you don't care why they're up. You don't want them to be up. So you say the behavior that you want to see. Sit down, please, or sit down. You don't say, you know, why are you up? Because then you'll get the explanation for why they're up. You might get engaged in a power struggle, etc., etc. Really, you don't want to ask the child why. You want to have them sit down and raise their hand if they need something. That's the procedure. Someone's at the door, and this video is crazy long. Moving right along to cussing. There's a lot of cussing. I just say, I don't like all that cussing. If it doesn't bother you, then don't worry about it. It says, we have a lot of parents, families, teachers that do cuss, and really it doesn't hurt anything. And I didn't want to villainize it. But I would just say, like, language, watch your language, please. You know, just make it known that you don't like it if that's not what you want. If you don't mind it, then that's fine. Here's the box of decorative pumpkins. Little note about these guys. Some student work saved up. You can put this on display in the hallway. Some nice borders, some burlap. This is a shoe, some organizers that I'd gotten at Goodwill. You have a lot of pencils. This is still pretty heavy. You have a lot of pencil sharpeners, erasers, but you probably want to get more. Also, I cut these in half. So these are like the full pink erasers, and I cut them in half for students, make them last longer. So yeah, you have a good stock of paper, but you will want to order a lot of watercolor paper and a lot of Elmer's glue bottles. I prefer like refilling them with these gallon jugs because it's cheaper, but you also don't have many of the bottles. You only have like 4 or 5 of these bottles. So let me pause it. Okay, didn't want to talk over the all the announcements. You have a lot of clipboards. These are great for going outside and drawing. You have some weaving boards. You'll need to order yarn. You have plenty of these. Mr. Linwood, your fine arts director, donated these to the classroom. You have plenty of tissue paper. You can do a lot with that. A lot of papers, but not a lot of cardstock or watercolor paper. You have a whole box of really nice origami paper. We did not get to that lesson this year. You have a lot of glue sticks, but remember you need a lot because middle schoolers tend to be very experimental with materials. You have a class set of hot glue guns and some glue sticks. You will need more of these if you plan to use the hot glue. I would recommend only using it with, well, it depends on the class. Who you think can use it, but I would wait until you know some of the students a little bit better. We do not have a working kiln right now. I did get some clay tools, and you have some air dry clay here, and also some paper mache. See, you have some cups, but you'll probably want more. This is from, because this was an old science room, you have some eyedroppers and some of these trays, which could be used to disperse paint. You have some concentrated watercolors and some printmaking supplies, but not enough. So if that's something you want to do, you'll need more of that. I use these for watercolors. I like the cake paints because they're quick and easy to distribute. And then I have these refills for the Prang brand watercolors. You will need a refresher on those as well. I usually get those every year. You'll also need a refresher on paintbrushes. Remember to get maybe not the teeny tiny ones unless you want them for a certain project. I usually stick with these because that's a good, you know, size. But you do have a couple of canvases. This is how I would do acrylic paint. I like these cups from Dollar Tree. And I usually paint the color on the top and they will last with the top on them. You can also get these little trays from Dollar Tree. But then there are always free ways to do it as well. Let's see here. You've got command strips, markers. These are permanent markers, and you have more permanent markers down here. A couple of more canvases you can paint over and reuse. Lots and lots of markers. Color pencil. I think that's enough color pencils to get you through 1 to 2 years if you manage them. You can paint over this. It was a prop that we never used for a school play that never came to fruition. Mat board. So I have a contact and her number on there. You can bring your own boxes to her store downtown here, and you can get a whole bunch of mat board that will help you for art shows and displaying work. These are some toilet paper rolls I saved up. There's some good paint in there, some stencils, and some kind of random boxes of different things. I know you're tired of hearing me talk because I'm tired of my voice too. You have some pens. You have a nice stapler. You have some oil pastels. I would recommend getting chalk pastels too because they wipe up and clean up easier than the oil pastels. And again, middle school is very experimental. Some stuff there. Let's see. This is the supply cart. So this is the cart that I would have out here, kind of sitting in front of this, and I had a big sign here that said supply cart. So the closet had markers, and then the supply cart was here. I do go over just a little bit, like I had all these organized in like little cups, and traceable shapes are a great tool. So this is literally all the glue. I didn't take any with me, so make sure you order glue bottles because the kids go through these like crazy. Just get enough maybe for a class set, and then you can get that gallon of glue and just keep refilling them. However, some of them just get stuck and there's no repairing it. So I would get glue bottles every year. Scissors. These scissors are safe, but they're not great. Once you get to know the students, they can handle the 8-inch scissors. So if I were you, I would try to get a class set of maybe 8-inch scissors, or at least the scissors with a little bit larger handle that might be a little bit sharper, especially if you want them to be able to cut things like cardboard. So it doesn't look like tons, but I mean, this is all different paperclip resources of things that you can use. So lessons, rubrics, early finisher activities. I always save copy paper boxes and lids, and also the snack cart boxes are helpful. Here's a bunch of posters to get you started. Remember, only hang stuff that you like, make it your own. Kids can definitely tell when you're authentic and when you're not, so. So these are called Messy Mats. You may already know about these if you're a graduate, but yeah, they're great. So you can take old posters, papers, and laminate them and just put them underneath students if they're working on something messy. Always collect scrap paper. That's great. Up there you have some cardboard. This is face paint stuff in here. Remember, you might be asked to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Here's a request to illustrate a book from Miss Butler. Don't be afraid to say no. If you feel overwhelmed, always take at least 20 minutes during your day, no matter what, during your work day, uninterrupted, just for your physical and mental health. I'm leaving these 2 fans for you. It does get a little bit hot and a little bit cold. Our HVAC system is older. Here's some cardboard saved up for you. This is in here has all been like cut or torn to a manageable size. These are actually Miss Reed's. She wanted someone to paint on these. So if you want to get to know some of the staff and maybe like do someone a project, ask Miss Reed about these. She wanted me to do something on them and I never got to. She wanted them to say ELA and math and have like the school classroom, her classroom colors on there. So these are large stencils of numbers that we use just for the parking lot numbers. Here are some old sheet, and shower curtain. These really help to protect the floor if you have something you need to lay out and work on. These are what I called loaner materials. So if teachers come and ask, like, do you have any color pencils? Do you have a box of color pencils I can borrow? Or other materials, I think one has crayons in it. This is like where I would come and get the loaner materials. These are great jumbo crayons and another pack of markers. So you should be good on, I think you're good on markers, crayons, and color pencils, and regular pencils. You might need to get some more regular pencils actually, yeah. These are great for setting out on the tables. The kids like to see, you know, that it's prepared for them to be there. They get excited for art. Prize box was something that I used as a reward, like with Puzzle Wars. A lot of art teachers recommend these, so I ordered these. I was not a huge fan, but maybe you'll find a better use for them. I actually think the paper I was using them on was wrong, but bingo daubers are a good tool to make signs and everything. Here's some magazines, some mural paint, and some acrylic paint. So you have almost the primary, you do have primary colors. No, that's ochre. You need yellow for sure. I basically tried to stick with primary, secondary colors so that, you know, you could mix what you needed. And also teach color mixing. See, so that's the closet area. You got a nice paper cutter. I'm leave this table for you. I just used it to have the paper cutter on. I did have it over here, but this counter is a little bit small for it. And you definitely don't want to have this out there. If you have a project and you feel like you might need to cut more paper, I would use this guy. I'm leaving that here as well. You can use a smaller one out at your desk. I never had a problem with that. I did not keep many things in these cabinets because students, you know, might open them, take things. If we were working on a project though, I did keep stuff in here. So I would keep, you know, if one class was painting and one wasn't, I always would pack up, you know, what the other class is doing so that the next class doesn't come in and go, are we painting? And then under here, I would store the painting materials. So cups, I would use the plastic dish drying things from Dollar Tree, and silverware trays to keep brushes in. But yeah, I'd have a teacher desk at the front of the room and a teacher desk at the back of the room, and then groups of 2 tables. I think that's about it. I wish you the best year, and our kids are really smart and really talented. So I hope you have a wonderful year. And we have a great admin team. All right, bye-bye.